Okay, so another US border state is now sounding the alarm. And I guess they're realizing that things are not going to change from last year. Just listen to what this event organizer has to say.
The Canadians would come in and they'd spend a lot of money. But that hasn't happened. It didn't happen last summer. It didn't happen this winter. It's noticeable.
Aw, thanks for actually noticing us. Noticing that we're not coming to your country. But not everybody in this border state is realistic like this guy. Because the Chamber of Commerce guy gives me a good opportunity to use this meme. Because he's basically celebrating a participation ribbon. And while international visitors are avoiding the national parks like a plague, Canada's letting everyone in for free. It's a stark difference from being welcoming and putting people into a detention center. But the brilliant United States of America, it might actually make it a lot easier for us to boycott the United States. Because the banning of international flights to sanctuary city airports, I guess they're actually serious about this. This topic was actually brought up in the news a couple weeks ago and everyone thought it was a joke. But it seems like they're actually making serious plans about this. So if you want to ban international travel to your busiest airports and decimate whatever you have left of your tourism industry, I say go for it. In fact, I double dog dare you to do it. So we're going to go over all of this in this video. And before I start, I just want to give an update on a couple of the petitions that I'm featuring. The one on the left, it's basically to get Hoekstra out or at least reviewed. This one's currently at 9,777 signatures. The one on the right, which is basically the TLDR, is to get ICE out of Canada. This one's at 5,518 signatures. So if you want to take a look at it or you do want to sign it, both petitions as well as a couple others are going to be in the description below. Alright, let's get started with the first report out of New Hampshire.
Instead of large crowds flocking to some popular New Hampshire tourist destinations, some places are bracing for this summer to look a little different.
We estimated last year we were down 70% on Canadian visitors.
In a report released by the Joint Economic Committee minority, nearly every part of the country is seeing fewer tourists. And the loss of Canadian tourists is hitting particularly hard.
That is music to my ears, and you don't see the big smile that I have on my face right now. Now, I know the haters are going to say, GTL, these are people's livelihood at stake, and you're making fun of it. You have no heart and soul. Yes, I actually had somebody say that to me before by email. Well, I might have had a heart and soul for the United States. Actually, I did, but not anymore. And one of the reasons why, let me show you some of the comments at where this news report actually came from. This guy here says, as a lifelong NH native, I appreciate the drop in traffic and the ability to enjoy my own state for once. Then the next person says, do you not realize how much people rely on tourism to pay their bills? It's smaller business owners that are getting screwed here. And then she tries to reason with the person. Then the next person says, couldn't agree more. Stop trying to make NH Disney World. Last time I went to Welsh Dickey to hike, the parking lot was completely full, and there are dozens of cars parked on the road with a trooper happily ticketing them. Disgusting. The next comment says, that's great. Wonderful news. Way less crowding. Less people driving like complete idiots while locals are trying to live. Less tourists means more local happiness. What I just showed you is 2 US citizens from the New Hampshire area basically saying that they're glad there's no tourists. It's obvious they're not very smart when it comes to economic trade and where their money actually comes from. But they never wanted us there. And when you have people like this saying this about foreign tourists, why the hell would we want to spend our money there? Now I know some people are going to say, well, it's not everybody in New Hampshire that feels this way. Well, it's true. But the people in New Hampshire who don't think like this, you guys should be the ones talking to the people in the comments like this. Because these people here are ruining it for you.
That report shows 4.2 million fewer Canadian visitors took overnight trips and 5.7 fewer took day trips. Overall, that's nearly 10 million fewer Canadian visitors.
The Canadians would come in and they'd spend a lot of money. But that hasn't happened. It didn't happen last summer. It didn't happen this winter. It's noticeable. I don't expect anything much better.
You want to know what I expect? I expect this summer to be a lot worse than last year. Because let's not forget, last year we still had people that booked trips to the United States prior to Taco Tuesday taking office, and they couldn't refund those vacations. Well, we don't have that problem this year, because anyone who was reluctant to go on their vacation last year but still went are probably not going to book for this year. So yeah, that's my prediction for this summer. But what do I know? I'm just an observant Canadian.
This year.
Charlie St. Clair is one of the organizers of Laconia's Motorcycle Week. He's concerned that fewer people will mean less in revenue for the small businesses who rely on this time of year. Over on the seacoast, while there's some concern,
we normally have probably 10 to 15% of our tourists coming into Hampton during the summer.
Now, 10 to 15% seems a little bit low to me, considering we've seen reports in the past saying that Canadians, they account for anywhere from 20 to 25%. But then again, we're almost at the end of this report, and they always have to end on a positive note, right?
Come from Canada. Now, we'll see a loss of that.
There's also some hope.
Personally, I think we're going to have a very good summer. Not an excellent summer, but a very good summer. Hotel and motel owners here up and down the strip, they would tell you that they're good. They're not excited to, meaning that they're overbooking, but they're not underbooking either.
I don't know. I just felt like I needed to show that meme. I mean, it seems like this guy's all positive on the outside, but I'm sure inside he's probably crying.
Our state parks are also seeing a serious decline in 2025. Canadians booked about 1,200 camping reservations. That is down 65% from the year before.
So event organizers are reporting that they're down 70%. Campgrounds are reporting that they're down 65%. But yet the Chamber of Commerce guy says that they're doing okay. Something doesn't make sense here. Okay, I did a little bit of research on this guy, the Chamber of Commerce guy. And John Nyhan, well, he's a Republican. Let me read this out. Voters like 72-year-old John Nyhan, president of the Hampton, New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce, a self-described moderate Republican who planned to support Haley on Tuesday. So it makes sense to me now why he's downplaying the effect that Canadians actually have on the tourism industry. I mean, if he actually said, yeah, Canadians make a big difference, I'm sure it would go against his Supreme Overlord's direction. Which makes me wonder now, what is the real contribution that Canadians have to the Hamptons? Because we know for sure now that we can never trust this John Nyhan guy when it comes to his numbers. Now I want to move on to the next article, and it's titled, As U.S. National Parks Hike Fees for International Visitors, Canada is letting them in free. Now I'm not going to read the whole article because it just talks about stuff that we already know, like Brand USA and the America the Beautiful Pass for $250, jacked up for international visitors. And it also talks about the Canada Strong Pass as well. I mean, these are two completely different passes. The America the Beautiful is going to cost you a shit ton of money, while north of the border, we want people to come to our country. But there's a few screenshots in this article I want to read out to everyone. According to the U.S. Travel Association, international visitors spend $4,000 per trip to the U.S., or 8 times what the domestic traveler spends. Overseas visitors take long drive vacation to experience our country, John told SF Gate in an email. Their road trip dollars go to rural areas and support local communities, restaurants, hotels, and shops. Their dollar circulates through the economy, creating a multiplier, and raise billions in taxes. You see, this is what the average US citizen doesn't understand. And they keep calling us annoying, saying that we're making too much traffic in their city, and just overall unappreciative of how much money we put into their economy. And yet the US government wants to rip off any international tourist that wants to go to their parks. I mean, paying $250 a head? Yeah, fuck that. The last paragraph I want to show. According to presentations from Brand USA, the National Tourism Market Agency projected that international travel to the US in 2027 has fallen by more than 20 million visitors in the past year, from 94.5 million projected in November 2024 to 74.2 million by April 2026. Ask yourself this question. For the celebration of our country's 250th birthday, which nobody internationally gives a shit about, what if we had given every visitor a free America the Beautiful entry to our national parks to stimulate visitation? John said. I wouldn't go to your national park if you paid me to go. Just saying. For each million additional visitors, we would have directly taken close to $5 billion. The economic multiplier makes somewhere in the range of $10 billion in value to the nation. Seems to me we clearly have all this backwards while Canada and others see this clearly. Now he's talking about how Canada is handling the Strong Pass versus the United States with their America the Beautiful. But one thing that he's missing here is that even if you did decide to give the America the Beautiful free to all international visitors to visit your parks, you still have a problem on getting people to your country. Because people don't want to deal with CBP, they don't want to deal with ICE, and they don't want to deal with your citizens either, the ones that don't want us there. Brand USA still doesn't understand that it's not about the price or the cost or the money. Even if you paid me, I still wouldn't go. But he is right about saying that the United States has it backwards. But the cost of this America the Beautiful Pass, that's the least of their concerns right now. Now, if you want to read the full article, as always, the link will be in the description below. But if you want to hear something else that's completely backwards, the brilliant United States government, they are seriously considering banning all international flights to sanctuary city airports. If you're not aware of what the potential sanctuary city airports are, it's New York City, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose. Pretty much any state that's blue. Now, this has to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and the biggest thing that I want them to implement. Yes, you heard that right. I want them to do this. Because if they do, it will decimate what remains of their tourism industry. Because if people do want to go to these cities right here, they'll have to make alternate plans and a stopover somewhere else before they can get here. And you can bet that's going to deter some people. So if you want to self-implode, go ahead. I dare you guys to. Like, this whole situation is like somebody pulling a grenade inside a submarine. Like, what are you thinking? But hey, it's your country, not mine. Now, I'm going to read this article for those that are just listening and also for those that are visually impaired. The travel industry is on edge after Homeland Security Secretary Mark-Wayne Mullin reiterated that his threat to withdraw U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers from airports in the so-called sanctuary cities in a move that could jeopardize international flights. Yeah, do it. I dare you. The U.S. Travel Association said that Mullin confirmed he's considering withdrawing CBP officers in a meeting where the trade group was pressing his concern about the proposal of the Taco Tuesday administration is considering that it could hamper travel. U.S. travel and major airlines quickly condemned the idea, and even Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said it doesn't make sense to him. U.S. travel believes such a move would have devastating consequences for the travel industry and communities that depend on international visitation, the industry group said Friday in a statement. Details in the meeting were first reported by The Atlantic. Duffy told a congressional hearing earlier this week that he wasn't familiar with Mullin's remarks, and that he'd like to learn more about the context and maybe ask Mullin what he meant. But Duffy said it would be a bad idea to start restricting travel based on political views. After all, at some point, Democrats will be in charge, and you will all switch spots at one point. Hopefully not too soon, Mr. Chairman, Duffy said. Now, Sean Duffy is an idiot. He's a Taco Tuesday bootlicker. But he actually makes sense here. Policy changes like this should not have a political view. I mean, they're only doing this because they're in blue states. And when a Democratic president comes in, he's just going to reverse everything. It's stupid. But secretly, I actually want them to do it. I want to see how much it can collapse the tourism industry. Okay, well, I guess it's not a secret since I told like thousands of people. We have people from all around the world and around the country that need to be able to fly into different kinds of places. We shouldn't shut down air travel in a state that doesn't agree with our politics, Duffy said. So it's not clear how much support this idea has within the administration, though President Taco Tuesday has previously threatened to withhold funding from sanctuary cities. There is no strict definition for sanctuary policies or sanctuary cities, but the terms generally describe limited cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement, and the courts have rejected the idea of pulling funding from them in the past. In Taco Tuesday's first term in office, in 2017, courts struck down his effort to cut funding to the cities. It's not clear exactly what cities and airports Mullin might target, but the Justice Department last year published a list of 36 states, cities, and counties that it considers to be sanctuary jurisdictions. The Airlines for America trade group was quick to say the idea would hurt the economy and disrupt travel. Reduced CBP staff at major airports would have devastating effect on the airlines and tourism industry, causing significant operation disruptions to carriers, travelers, and the flow of international cargo. Well, what do I have to say about this? I say, go ahead and do it. I dare you. Do it. Pull that pin on a grenade while you're sitting in a submarine and see what happens. I'm not being snarky for the hell of it. Well, maybe a little bit. But I'm also emphasizing how ridiculous this is. On one hand, you have Brand USA and treasure troll Nick Adams trying to recover the US tourism industry, which in my opinion, neither of these guys are going to make any sort of effect. And then on the other hand, you have the US government threatening to shut down airports, like some of the most popular airports that international people fly into. If you're flying from Asia to the United States, San Francisco or LAX are two of the most popular airports that people from Asia would land into. You cut those two off, you got New York. Well, actually, no, not New York, because that's considered a sanctuary city as well. My point is that you're cutting off a lot of airports that international people, not just Canadians, would normally fly into. So for everybody watching this video right now, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think this is a stupid idea and the United States shouldn't do it? Or are you kind of like me and kind of want to see this happen? Because hey, it'll make our boycott so much easier if we can't fly to the United States. To close off this video, I would like to thank the Slacker for posting this photo on the Guard the Leaf Hay Cafe page. And he took this photo from George's Island Lighthouse in Nova Scotia. I want to thank you for sharing this with the community and helping to display our country to the international viewers. Now for those waiting for the cat to make some noise, unfortunately, you'll have to wait for the next one because she slept through the whole video editing process. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today's video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And don't forget to hit the bell and select all. That way you'll be able to see all my videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.